business schools and media schools and those who analyze this will look at the collapse of Erika Kirk, TPUSA, the Charlie Kirk legacy, the momentum, the self-destruction, the controlled demolition. People will look at that as an example that they've never seen before. And I want you to think about this. And we're not talking financial impropriety or involvement in any kind of criminal complicity in the actual murder itself. No. Nobody's doing that. I don't know about other people, but that's not what this is about. This is about PR and image. PR and image is how you sell everything. Sometimes the thing, when you see a restaurant, you say, ooh, I like that. It has lights, or it's the colors, or the balloons, or the crowds, whatever it is, you haven't tasted one thing on that menu, but you go there. The way album covers are designed, the way cars are designed, the way movies are, everything deals with stagecraft and presentation and the narrative. If Erika Kirk had said the following, I am going to take some time off, as you can understand, because my children need me. They've lost a father in the most unimaginable way possible in front of the world. I'm going to speak with Charlie's parents, who I guess are alive. I don't hear anything. I have a husband to bury. I don't know where he's buried. I don't know. And my concern also is in the thousands of young people who gave of their time, their inspiration, their hope, their dreams to follow Charlie and his noble word. I'm going to be doing that. And I hope you understand. People say, yes, yes. And if there was rumblings about Candace, first of all, Candace would have never been provoked because Candace would have never jumped in with that. And if Erika had said, and speaking of Candace, I want to thank her. She and my husband loved each other. They were great friends. I consider Candace a sister. Whether you agree with this or not is beside the point. Her family and my family, we spent time together. I can't think of anybody who has been better to me, who has been kinder to me and my children, and who absolutely shared Charlie's vision, his worldview. And I love her, and I think she is a great and a noble person, and I hope she understands how much we appreciate her. Stop. That would have been the end of it. Fort Huachuca, November Renaissance, whatever, they would say, Candace, what are you doing? And by the way, this would have been also TPUSA holding off on lawyer letters, but that's a strategy they're dealing with. But in the meantime, in the court of public opinion and the court of internet public opinion, people would have said, Candace, you're out of your mind. What are you doing? But no, they dragged her in. They stuck her in there. Not anybody in particular, but just. Stop. And even if Candace had said something that you thought was untoward or wrong, by you taking this manufactured high road, listen, you publicly forgave the man who assassinated your husband. You did this. And now you also are demanding a speedy trial, which we'll talk about that later. That really doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't look right. But anyway, they don't care how things look. But that's beside the point. It's over. It's done. It's finished. I mean, you can't, I can't, I'm sure you'd feel the same way. I can't even look at her without thinking, what have you done? And that's not good. That is not good. They're going to be studying this in classes. Because for those, and some people still really don't get it because they want to talk about, Greenland. That's interesting. They want to talk about Don Lemon. That's interesting. There's no depth to that. The story has no legs. This has legs. And in case you've been in a coma, maybe you don't know, maybe you've just followed in, you say, hey, I'm going to see what this has to do, or what this guy is talking about. When Charlie Kirk died, everything exploded, stopped. It wasn't slow. It wasn't quiet. It was sudden and shocking and abrupt. 1 second, there was a leader that people loved and followed, who gave inspiration for the first time in ways that nobody thought would ever be possible. Being true to the Bible, being modesty and virginity and abstemious behavior and waiting. I mean, just women staying at home and women staying at home and working. Hello, but anyway. And kids loved it. I say kids, younger people. It was over. In one flash, there was a giant hole. People were beyond sad, beyond angry, confused, bereft, discombobulated, and nobody knew what was supposed to happen next. It felt like the whole movement lost its heart, or they pulled the rug out. There's what? The number of people, friends of mine, whose college-age kids or younger or older, listened to Charlie Kirk every day, and nobody told them. They didn't know. People who you would think, she's into this, who showed no inclination whatsoever to any kind of belief system other than self-gratification, felt this incredible connection to Charlie. Charlie was not just a guy with a microphone. He was the engine, the spiritual power center. He was the energy. He was the face behind it, and the face people recognized. And when he spoke, crowds listened. And when he showed up, people felt excited. And when he just disappeared, the movement stopped. It felt empty. Oh, people were moving around, and you heard names, and Ben Shapiro, and this, and then this scrum, this pitchfork and torch. I don't know what this was. Unseemly, untoward, unprofessional, unimaginable. Then Erika stepped forward. We weren't really sure. I mean, people thought they knew who she was. And, well, she's going to be a very classy, a very solemn, Charlie's wife, his spiritual partner, the mother of his children. Everyone looked at her. Everybody looked at her for guidance and consolation. Everybody waited. People wanted comfort. They wanted hope. They wanted someone to speak from the heart. They wanted someone to somehow say, we're going to make this. We're going to survive this. But instead, what they saw felt strange. If it was stiff, cold. It felt like someone reading from a script, like an animatronic. She was like the only human AI bot. She's human, but AI. It doesn't make any sense. False, synthetic, fictive, fictional, plastic, synthetic. I think I've said that. Young people can tell when something feels fake. They know how to keep it real. And they felt it fast. They don't need proof of anything. They just sense it. Erika didn't feel real to many people, and still don't. She sounded careful, minced, prepared, memorized, wrote. She sounded polished. She sounded like she was afraid to mess up, that she was reading the lines of a script. It was a LARP, a live-action role play. It was weird. And that made people very uncomfortable, and they're saying, what's going on here? Leadership is not about standing on a stage. Leadership is about connecting with people. It's about emotion and sincerity and authenticity. It is about showing pain and strength simultaneously. Erika didn't know how to do it, or she refused to do it. Maybe it was beneath her. Or she didn't want to do it. I don't know. Either way, the result was the same. You did you find yourself thinking, I can't believe this? For somebody who's so much into acting and pageants, and she's the worst actress anybody's ever seen, if that's what she needed. People started losing trust, not because of facts, not because of evidence, but because of feeling. See, feelings matter more than logic online. See, if people feel disconnected, they leave. I mean, it's fast, it's brutal, it's unequivocal. And at the same time, interestingly enough, Candace Owens was doing the opposite. She was loud, she was bold, she was real, authentic, aggressive. She didn't whisper, she didn't wait. She jumped into every fight. She called people out. She made drama on purpose, knowingly, intellectually. That's how attention works now. And drama spreads. Calm doesn't. Okay? Doesn't work like that. Candace understood that. Candace Owens, aside from being brilliant, is a showman. She knows stagecraft. Candace spoke like someone who was not scared, because she wasn't. She sounded confident and incredulous and powerful. And that attracts followers. People especially who needed somebody to tell them what to do. People love strength. People like leaders. People who are like leaders who sound and are fearless. Compare Erika with Candace. And Erika sounded careful. She sounded rote and performative and controlled. She sounded nervous, schmaltzy, too much for the glitter, too much. Even when the same crying and that handkerchief, always one eye. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. People, and many of them were women, who have, I think, a special sense of finding BS, as it were. You know, Erika doesn't inspire crowds. It makes them doubt. I mean, she just, and they kind of were, okay. TPUSA was built on hype in a positive way. It was built on rallies. It was built on big speeches and viral clips. And Charlie Kirk was the fuel. That's exactly what it was. And when he was gone, it stopped. I mean, it was an abrupt, a slam into the brick wall. Erika never could and didn't replace that energy. Why she was selected, I have no idea. She never created something new. She never gave the movement a fresh direction, a different take, a different vantage, a different point of view. So people started drifting away. And when a movement is built around one person, and this is true, this is axiomatic, it becomes fragile. If that person disappears, the whole thing falls apart. And that's exactly what happened here. September the 10th, 2025. It was over. Turning point, turned the page. And inside the movement, people started competing. Influencers wanted attention. Commentators wanted clicks. Everyone wanted to be the next big voice. And instead of unity, there was fighting. And it was off to the races. The typical, again, this mob, this scrum. Social media, of course, I'm sorry to say, made it worse. On social media, silence is dangerous. If you stay quiet, people fill the space with rumors and lies and distortions and obfuscations. And if you don't speak, people assume you're hiding something. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Erika Kirk stayed quiet a lot when she shouldn't have. She avoided sharing personal emotion. She avoided opening up. That made people suspicious. She thought she was, but it was performance-based. It was a kabuki dance. Even if she had nothing to hide, it looked bad. And then the stop it. And the worst, in my humble opinion, was this media blitz on every Fox News show, which is, that's a great platform, and Barry Weiss and CBS and this and that. And then there was this, and I think she went to the White House and met with the president for, they swore in the ambassador of Botswana. I have no idea. But the point is, where are your kids? Where is your family? Where is her? Where is it? I still want to know, where's his parents? Where is he buried? Candace filled the empty spaces. She owned the conversation. She made herself impossible to ignore. She did that brilliantly. I don't even think she knew what she was doing. She was just normal. She forced people to react to her. And that is how power works online. I'm telling you, they're going to be studying this forever. Since September the 10th, look what happens. People online reward confidence. They reward boldness. They love it. They reward people who sound sure of themselves, even when they're wrong. You cannot bore people on the internet. They do not reward patience. They do not reward keeping quiet, being quiescent. They don't reward quiet reflection. They don't reward slow, careful, deliberate, surgical leadership. Erika never had a chance. She never learned that rule. Candace mastered it. People started calling Erika fake. They said she looked like a robot, like some mannequin, like some automaton. What they really meant was that she didn't show emotion. Emotion that people thought was sincere and commensurate with the tragedy that had occurred. She didn't show pain. She did in the whatever, the hanky or the whatever. I'm not going to go through any. You got to know when to watch what you say. But I didn't buy it. She didn't show real grief in a way that people could feel. Where you just, let me give you something. If you want me to lose my mind and cry like a baby, you show me those YouTube pictures of a father coming home from the military or war, and his daughter just sobbing. I hope I can do this. Sobbing. Because her daddy's home. It's just about, oh my God. I saw this woman the other day. Sometimes they'll bring a dog. They'll give a girl, a teenager, here's your dog, and she'll cry and sob with such sorrow. They had a picture of a young girl getting a pig. They brought her a little pig, and she wept. And I'm losing. I'm thinking, it's a pig. Doesn't matter. It's authentic. People wanted to cry with her. They wanted to feel connected. They were saying, well, this is good. She's obviously going to share my opinion. Instead, they felt shut out. And it's true. That's why she should have not been there. They should have said, all right, we're going to pull it. Erika, listen, sorry, you just, this isn't for you. Go home with your kids. We'll take care of it. Because you're actually doing us harm if you're totally mercenary versus humanitarian in the first place, to try to continue the thoughts and the vector and the inclination to support the worldview of Charlie. The internet, this thing that we're in right now, this is its whole gravity system. It moves fast. It doesn't wait for healing. It doesn't wait for kind of an adjustment. If you fall behind, you get crushed. Absolutely, positively crushed. And Candace Owens moved fast. Erika froze. And soon the story was not about honoring Charlie anymore. And that's when it turned. It was more about conflict. It became about influence, and it became about who gets the spotlight, who speaks for TPUSA. Remember, Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro doesn't understand he's Ben Shapiro. See, all this happens when leadership is weak. Everyone rushes to take control. All the jealous factions and movements. Everyone fights for attention. Me, I'm in control. Erika looked overwhelmed. Absolutely, she just didn't, and I can understand why. She looked unprepared, and people noticed. And once people decide you look weak or insincere or not authentic or fake or false or whatever it is, it's almost impossible to change their minds. This is a different audience. This is brutal because their currency is influence. This doesn't have to happen, and it didn't have to happen. Erika could have spoken honestly. She could have cried on camera a little bit. She could have talked about fear, and she could have talked about her children and her family and the pain. She could have shown her real self. And then she said, I'm going to have to go now. And that would have been perfect. Erika, you go. I'm sorry. I miss my husband. I think you understand. Yes, go. Cry, cry. Again, I'm not trying to say this, but versus, is she at another rally? It's almost like somebody, crude, sad to say, somebody's saying, now it's Erika's time. She's kind of like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton sat out 2 terms of Bill Clinton, sat out 2 terms of Barack Obama. She was always behind somebody else. Now it's her time, and she destroyed everything. Erika Kirk might have been able to save trust. Instead, and by the way, this is the problem that no law firm can deal with, is sending out letters. The real issue you have is not necessarily that. It's this immovable, permanent sense of a redirection of emotional commitment. You see, instead what they did, she remained guarded and she stayed distant and she stayed professional, and it still pushed people away. Now the movement feels different. It feels messy, it feels divided, and it feels like everyone is fighting for followers instead of fighting for ideas. And people watching feel tired. They feel disappointed. They feel sad. They feel confused. They feel like something special was ruined. They wanted something back. They were forgotten, just completely ignored. And this shows something extremely important about modern movements, and something that I think people should keep in mind, especially if you're in the political realm. If everything depends on one star, it will collapse when that star is gone. That is gravity. And if leadership is based on personality and not structure, it will break. It will fall apart. That's the issue. It also shows you how powerful attention actually is. How powerful it is. Whoever controls attention controls the crowd, and whoever speaks the loudest often wins. My friend, this is a very sad and a sad story. Candace understood this. Erika didn't. And right now we're seeing the aftermath of this, and we have just this sad, these scrums, these back and forth, and this one's being sued, and this cease and desist. And whenever there's any kind of legal action that is promoted, it now becomes fodder for another show where millions of people can say, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Are they really doing this? Are they really? Yes. Are they really doing this? Yes. They're really doing this. Now, again, I'm not passing any... I don't know enough about the allegations made about whether there was a libel or anything defamatory against TPUSA, but all I know is from a media point of view and from the point of view of just image, this is a disaster. You would think somebody would say, we're going to go to damage control and we're going to build up image and we're going to start giving out scholarships instead of seeming to try to maintain the financial part of it versus the spiritual and the evangelical, if you will, because that's what this was. When whoever decided to take out Charlie Kirk, did you know that ChatGPT one time I said, on what date was Charlie Kirk? Because I thought it was the 10th, but I wanted to see how many days had elapsed. I said, how many days have elapsed since September the 10th, but since Charlie Kirk was assassinated? ChatGPT said, he is not assassinated. You can't say assassinated. That is a word that implies killing for a political motive. And I thought, you've got to be ChatGPT, AI, even they're limited by them. Anyway, what do you think? I want to say one thing, and there's a video coming up. Candace, I've never met Candace. I think it was he did a DM one time like, thank you, or a heart, or something like that. So I don't know her. I don't know her number. I can't pass this on to her. But I would sit down and say, I want you and your husband to think about something. You have the chance to create a movement, a party, a vector, something that nobody saw coming. Take all these young people and all of these devotees and acolytes and and apostles of Charlie, and you pick up where they left off. And you create a voting block, a movement block. Don't worry about donations or anything like that. Just raw power. Not only will you be the most powerful person in the country, but they will be. Because they want somebody to come in and say, don't let our energy fizzle. Help us. We don't care about this one said this and Dave Rubin said that. We don't care about that. That's internecine, YouTube battles or whatever. We don't care about that. You've got to say, I'll lead you. Let's go. Because they're going to suffer their own kind of a diaspora. They're going to be wandering through the desert, and they need somebody to help them. We'll talk about that in a coming video, why that's important. I thank you, my friends. Thank you for the kind words. And by the way, your oh my God, your analyses have been perfection. And I thank you so much for that. I really do. I thank you for that. Do me a great favor. Thank you also for the kindness you've showed my wife by following her at Lynn's Warriors. Your child predation, human trafficking, is through the roof. I can't tell you a lot of what we know. My wife is privy to a lot of law enforcement types, people in Washington, and her colleagues. And I don't think it would be wise for me to mention too much of it. But what she tells me and what I hear and see in passing is, it makes me wonder whether these people really share our humanity, how we share DNA in any event. So that's Lynn's Warriors. Thank you for that. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And also, by the way, make sure, and this is important, make sure that you comment on this. I've got some questions, and your comments have been terrific. Please do that. Thank you for this. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to enter your home and your brain and your mind and your space with my little thoughts, my meager thoughts, my ideas. I'm just a country boy. Thank you, my friends. Now it's time for you to comment as you see fit.